Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of AM1 on CAM1. I am here today at Hawkins Woods in Plainville, Massachusetts. This is one of the newer courses in the area. It's been around at first for just a 9-hole course, which starts over in this direction. They recently added another 9 holes, the back 9 to it. So it's now a full course. 1 set of baskets, 1 set of tees, a whole lot more fun. I hope you enjoy. Hawkins Woods is the brainchild of one John Sorrell, who is the hardest working man there is in all of disc golf. That said, this course is just a parking lot, 18 holes with baskets and surfaced tee pads. But I think as you'll find as we play along, there are a lot of little details he's added to the course that make it a special place to play. As for how well does it play, well, we'll just have to get out there and see. Hole 1 is a very short par 3, 255 feet, so get out your putter or a mid-range or something like that. It is a very tight line though, and to make matters worse, there is OB off to the side and immediately behind the basket. You'll see a rock wall out there. That's what you want to avoid, it's going over that rock wall. Probably best approached with a right-hand flick. Get out there, you can park the basket as long as you get through these initial trees. Even though it's only 255 feet, you can see that cautious drive of mine has landed me short here. I've still got, well, I'm just outside the circle, 35, 40 feet or so. But I do have a look at the birdie. Oh, no good. So I don't have any issues with this hole. This is a very good hole. The only problem I have with it is that it's hole 1. If you don't get your drive clean through those trees, you can easily take a 5 on this hole after going out of bounds and then trying to force your way back onto the green. Really tough way to start a round, in my opinion. Hole 2, another par 3, 282 feet. This is a great little hole. I like this one a lot. This one starts off, the fairway suggested route is to go out this way and then bend the disc around, whether it's a hyzer for a lefty or an ante for a righty, and then you travel another good 100 feet or so, 120 maybe, to get to the basket. If you look down this side, you'll see a small gap between a pine tree and another skinny little maple. A lot of people who throw right-handers, like the right-hand flick, like to take that route and try and fight through the trees and get right onto the green. That gap is almost where the basket is. It's just a bit right of that. Oh no! And by that I mean yes. Oh, I clipped the tree badly. They do have a practice basket here, but they don't have a field where you can warm up your arm. So I took a couple of practice shots off the tee before I threw my actual shot. Even with practice shots, I still hit one of the trees. But worse than that, I put my disc out into the trees behind me here and never found it. So before you come out to this course, make sure that you ink your plastic. Put your name and number on there so that you can get your plastic back. They do have a drop box back at the kiosk, but because it's a new course, the fairways are still relatively, they need mowing every year. The rough is extremely rough and it's very easy to lose a disc. Hole 3, 283 feet, par 3. It's just straight out there and then bends over to the left. It's a natural backhander throw. Oh no! Oh yes! Woo! I didn't make the corner, but I made it through the corner. I go back and forth on this drive as to whether or not I want to throw my Bard, which is a stable mid-range, or my T-Bird, which is a relatively neutral fairway driver with a strong fade. I threw the T-Bird, but I underthrew it, and I almost didn't make the gap. I needed to push that disc out a little bit further to get around the corner and land on the green, or so I thought. I thought I was going to be much shorter than I turned out to be. I got a good skip, and I'm back here in the weeds behind the pin. But while I was looking around for my disc everywhere except back there in the weeds behind the pin, I found this. Mr. Chapin, your disc will be in the tossed and found. I hope it finds its way back to you. terrible. That happened. Hole 4, 265 feet, pretty much straight ahead with a little bit of a drift to the right, lefty, righty, a lot of different ways you can throw this hole. That should be fine. Left it a little short. We're headed that way. Okay, so these first few holes, definitely very attackable. Except for hole number 1, which is highly technical. I think you want to be chasing birdies on all of these. To be honest, the first couple of holes on this course, probably more like a Reds level course, you know, 850, 875 rated kind of stuff. That is about to change. Hole 5, 545 feet, par 4. This is where John starts to show us some of his trickery. This hole goes straight out with a drive, and then there are 2 lanes you can take off to the left side that will take you up to the basket. The sign treats them as though they are equal lanes, but in truth they're not. I've never seen anyone take the first left. They always go for the second exit off the highway, so to speak, and play the further lane. It seems to be more natural for the right-hand backhanders, and I've never really seen even, you know, someone playing righty forehand try and make that first gap. I'm sure it can be done, I just don't see it very often. After you get around the corner, it's a long shot up to the basket and onto the green. Has a couple of trees around it, some rocks and scrubs. You can't count on a good skip. So a really good par 4 hole. Okay, I think that landed right in the gap going up the next stretch of the fairway. Okay, so here we are, we're coming up on the first gap. You can see it's a little overgrown up there, and it's just really hard to get into that gap because of the trees that are behind us, blocking the lane to it. It's much easier to go over the trees like I did, and then come back down here in the second gap. And while this is also looking a little overgrown, I've got a straight shot at the basket from here. Get up there. Woo, okay, I think that's good. So I'll take my birdie there, but it is rare for me to have such a clean look at that second shot. Usually I'm a little too deep or a little too shallow, and I have to fight with the weeds and the bushes and really shape a shot in order to get on the green. Today I was just able to rip it, you know, kind of straight ahead from that spot. So I got lucky getting the bird today. Hole 6 is another par 3, 260 feet, goes straight out there and then bends off to the left. Another natural right-hand backhand throw. Oh no! Oh, good kick. Woo! Fade a little bit. I got lucky with that kick off the tree. This is one of those holes where if you get off the fairway to either side, you are in serious jail. It is very hard to get out. Hole 7 is another par 4, 475 feet long and shaped like a pencil. This is a long, narrow tunnel with just enough room to get a drive off. You really have to nail your line on this, otherwise you can be stuck in the rough, and the rough here is also very difficult. I've talked with a couple of people about this course. In fact, I've talked with a lot of people about this course. It's kind of controversial in my mind. Some people love it, some people are like, I don't see what the big deal is. But several of them have suggested that this is the signature hole for the course. I really can't argue against it. I think they're right. Okay, good kick. Good kick. With such a narrow tee shot, so little space to shape a throw, throwing a driver on this hole can be really tricky. I'd much rather be 200 feet up the center and on the fairway than 300 feet up and be off in the woods on this hole. So my approach to it has always been to throw a mid-range, get up here somewhere. I kind of missed it and bounced off a tree, but I got here. And then throw that mid-range again to get onto the green and try and get my birdie that way. Oh no. Oh, I hit the pines. All right, that's right there. Hole 8 is a par 4, 495 feet long with a split fairway. In fact, it is not just split at a certain section of it, it's split almost the full length of the fairway all the way until you get within circle 2. Well, maybe just outside circle 2. Anyway, 2 ways to play this, and I want to pull the picture up here so we can see it somewhere around here. If you play this like a righty backhander, you can go out this side and just throw a long bomb out there, have it fade, get around the corner, but then you got to throw a weird hook shot to get onto the green that can be very, very tricky. There's a lot of trees out there. Not to mention, getting it to land smack dab in the middle of what turns out to be a very narrow fairway out there at a good distance is a very hard shot to make. It's a long placement drive. If you go the other side, you might have to throw a short shot, placement shot, just get yourself out there 100, 150 feet, and then take a long shot and get yourself onto the green with a narrow but much more straight tunnel shot to get out there. So which way do I play it today? I don't know. We'll see. I'll make that decision when I get on the tee. Oh, that took all the steam out of it. Oh no. Whoops. No. Damn it. Not a great drive, not a great upshot, not a great second upshot, and a lousy putt. Should I really be surprised that I'm taking a 5? Hole 9 is a par 3, 308 feet. This one's very annoying for the right-hand backhand player because you have to get a disc to turn early and then finish straight, which is not possible to do very well. It is not easy to park the green on this one. It's nearly impossible. It's one of those things where when it happens, you feel blessed. It's much more a forehand hole for the right-hander or, you know, a turnover shot for a lefty. Very tricky hole to play well. Yeah. Didn't turn it fast enough, so I hit the backside. Ooh, we just beat that tree. One of the nice things about this course is that it was originally built as a 9-holer, then they added the back 9 to it. So hole 9 finishes right near the parking lot, right over there. So if you need to grab a drink or drop off a sweatshirt, pick up a sweatshirt, change your socks and shoes if it gets wet out here or something, you're right by the spot. You can get that midway through the round. Hole 10, 315 feet, it's a par 3. Just a straight shot up a gentle slope and then it bends off to the left. A natural right-hand backhand throw once again. Nothing terribly exciting about this one, but it is the first pad we've come across that's actually built with large paver stones. John helped me out building some of the pads at Borderland, so he learned how to do it. And he came out and he started working on those over here. Like I said, he is the hardest working man in disc golf. Roll. Hole 11, another par 3, 315 feet, very similar to the last one, except this one is straight, level, and there's a god-awful number of trees in your way. It's much tighter, more like hole 1 than it is like the last hole, hole 10. Ugh. Trash. Just over 100 feet out. Gonna have to break the glass and pull out my emergency flick. Sit. Oh! Hole 12, another par 4, 545? Yeah, 545 feet. This is a very tricky one for the right-hand backhander because you got to go straight out there and then turn to the right kind of hard at the very end of the throw. There's not enough room because of trees for you to swing it out wide with an ante shot. My buddy Ed says this whole course is more forehand friendly, and he likes it for that reason. He throws a forehand bomb. He's a forehand specialist. So this might be one of the holes he's thinking of when he said that. Oh, that's a little bit too much to the outside. I just want to walk the fairway with you here. It's very hard to throw an ante shot because of this tree right here and the little sapling that's behind it. But you can't turn it too much because you'll hit this row of trees. And if you go straight and turn late, which is kind of what I did, you might risk fading out into all this garbage that's over here, when what you really want to do is be looking up here. Very, very touchy shot. So I was only off on my drive by maybe 3 or 4 degrees, just a little bit. And yet, any little bit of fade at the end of that throw, I'm now stuck back here with really no shot except to putt out and try and get back onto the fairway, which is a good, I don't know, 50 feet up this line of trees. I have no shot at getting to the green, and I have no shot at trying to advance very far up the fairway. So I take my medicine, I guess. Yeah, off to the side of the fairway now. Deep. Threw it too far. Not a bad hole, just a difficult hole. Hole 13, another par 3, 331 feet, and up a slight incline to the basket. It's a steady grade, the basket's right in front of you, straight shot. There's only a few tiny little saplings in the way and a rock wall. So not a very difficult hole if you've got the distance to climb 330 feet on a slight incline. Go chase the birdie with it. Otherwise, it's a pretty straightforward drive, up shot, and putt. Oh, I hit some foliage on the side there. This is a fun one because it's just out of my range, so I can go at it and attack it, but it's really hard for me to get so clean to get that kind of distance slightly uphill. Hole 14, par 4, 485 feet. This hole is a bit wackadoodle. It goes out there straight. and then takes a 90-degree turn, and then takes another 90-degree turn the opposite way to keep going straight, bending slightly to the right to get to the pin. Now, the second half of the fairway is beautiful. The first half of the fairway is pretty good. It's that 90-degree turn you got to do in order to get through things that is just frankly impossible. Only way to throw this hole is with a righty flick or a very strangely shaped lefty backhand throw that you turn over and then force back in. I've seen some people that play this by just throwing a putter shot straight ahead, right between the pine trees that are out there, and then trying to throw over everything else. And I can see how you might get par that way. I can't see how you get a birdie doing that. The line, as thrown, should be taking you out between the two trees that are to the left side of the fairway here, and then fading out and again somehow turning back to the same direction you were headed for the first half of the throw. I just don't see it. There's kind of no way to do this safely other than to play for the 4 and hope you can get there. I hit the gap, but there's no way that I'm getting full flight on a drive here. So that was a perfectly good throw with a stable mid-range. I still ended up off the fairway and in the rough. Come down. All right. I actually had a pretty good look at that. Hole 15, another par 3, 254 feet, just straight out there and then let it fade off onto the green. This is another lazy throw for the right-hand backhanders. Uh-oh. I did not make the corner on that, but it did punch through. We'll see. I'm directly behind this pine tree, but that's probably better than I deserved with that drive. Behind it. I wish I had the camera up close for that. So nose down, it flipped over the rim. Hole 16. It's a par 3, but it's 367 in a pretty densely wooded tee shot. There's a lot of guardian trees about a third of the way up there. This is also the only hole that doesn't have a tee pad installed yet. So it's just natural earth, and right now it happens to be very muddy. This one is one of those that if we were playing this as a whites level course would be a borderline par 4. Oh, I turned it over too much. Never gonna come out. Hole 17, par 4. It is 527 feet long, and unfortunately at this time all you have to work with is one of those short little tee pads. So you kind of have to work off the back of it. Do you run up onto it? There's just not a lot of space here for the drive, but it is a nice drive that is probably best thrown once again with a forehand based on the shape of the fairway. Okay, good. Kept it in the fairway, that's important. Okay, so I didn't get a lot of distance with this throw. Probably just under, like maybe 280, something like that, just under 300. But I'm right in the middle of the fairway, and that leaves me with a good shot to get onto the green for the next throw. Unfortunately, this shot is once again a forehand shot for me. I've got to put it up high over these pines that are in front of me, have it swing around, and then hook back to get onto the green. So let's see if I can do that. Oh, it's stalling too soon. Oh, much too soon. Now, that's not the fault of the disc golf course, that's just an inferior forehand guy. Hole 18, final hole. It's a par 3, 365 feet. The fairway is relatively open, not that many trees on it. It's just a tricky shot because it's yet another big, long turnover shot for the right-handers. Oh no! I tagged the tree. That slowed it down badly. I've been scoring okay on this round, not too bad. A couple of birdies in the front, a couple of bogeys in the back. I'm not sure exactly where I am, +1 or even, something like that. But I've gotten a lot of kicks that have hit trees and still dumped me in the fairway. That was another one right there. If I weren't so lucky with those tree kicks, I could easily be 3, maybe even 4 strokes behind where I am right now, because the rough on this course is truly rough. It hasn't had enough people stomping around on it to really pack down the soil and prevent the underbrush and things like that from growing up. So something to be aware of. It's better to get 200 feet and be in the fairway than 300 feet and be off the fairway. You'll save yourself a lot of strokes that way. Too soft to be a run. Okay, so that's 18. I'm gonna look for a safe place off the course to do final thoughts, and that'll be it for this one. Hope you enjoyed it. Okay, final thoughts. This course has been here for a few years now, 4 or 5 years, I think, and it's only been for the last 2 that it's been a full 18 holes. And yet, even though it's only half an hour away from where I live, I haven't reviewed it up until now. There's 2 reasons for that. The first is that I kind of wanted the course to settle in a little bit, get played up a little bit, and not just be, complain about the rough the whole day long. Second thing is, I'm really not sure how I feel about it. And it's taken me a long time to figure out why. I've talked to an awful lot of people, and some of them say that it's a forehand friendly course, and that's why I don't like it. But I don't think that's it, because it's only a few holes where that's truly the case. Other people say that, it's just really technical, but I don't think that's it either, because there's only a few holes where that's the problem. There's a couple of holes where things get a bit tired after a while. There's, I think, 3 holes that are between 260, 280 distance that are just right-hand bailout shots off to the left, easy for a right-hander to throw. And then there's probably 2 more that are just at the 300-foot level where you're doing exactly the same thing. So 5 shots where it's just a straight out backhand straight, with the disc fade and you're on the green. So that's a lot of holes to be throwing essentially the same shot. And then you've got holes that are rinky-dink little things, around 250 where you'd be throwing a putter or a mid, and they're really easy to birdie. Then contrast that with really technical 500-foot holes that don't have clean lines. I mean, I'm losing my voice talking about this place. That's how complicated it is. And I think the problem in truth is it doesn't know what it wants to be. This is essentially a red level course with maybe 4 or 5 blue level holes on it. Or you could think of it as a blue level course with a bunch of really cheesy rinky-dink holes thrown in as connectors to get you from one place to the next. I don't know which it is, and that's what makes it very difficult to review. I will say this, I have friends who love this course, and I have friends who think this is better than anything else around except perhaps Maple Hill. So, very controversial course. I'd say that it definitely has some great holes on it, but which ones you're going to like and which ones I'm going to like, gonna vary significantly, probably based on which way you throw. Lefty, righty, forehand, or backhand. That's all there is for this round, folks. Stay frothy, my friends.